If you're already mentally preparing for your family's holiday Q&A session, the annual, "So, what are you doing with your life? When are you getting married? Have you gained weight?" That whole interrogation, this video is for you. Hi guys, my name is Melanie Silva, recovered people pleaser turned boundaried baddie, and today I'm gonna show you how to set boundaries without starting a family feud, unless you want to. And if saying no or standing your ground gives you anxiety, grab my free guide, Say No with Grace. The link is below. All right, let's jump in. So the top intrusive questions that your family asks you during the holidays. Number 1, career questions. "So, what are you doing with your life?" "Whatever the hell I want, Mom." Just kidding, don't say that. Unless, you want to start a family feud. So this one really hits home for me. As someone who's always had different pursuits in life, I've always gotten the question of, when are you going to just stop pursuing your passions? And when are you just gonna settle for a 9-to-5 job? And listen, for some of you, your 9-to-5 job is your one and only job and you're happy with it. And that's great, and that's where you're going to stay. Awesome. But some of us have had passion projects or dreams that we wanted to fulfill and receive negative feedback from our family during the holidays about it. For example, I'll be very honest, my mother wants me to stop this YouTube channel and put more of my nights and weekends to only dating. And I think that's dumb. This is something that I feel very passionate about, and it lights me up. It gives me joy to be able to share the wisdom that I've learned in a creative way. And if I don't do it and I just put all of my time into dating, then I'll feel like I'm abandoning myself, which is what we're against on this channel. Why should I? Just to make my mother happy? And I know different people have their own versions of this. So what you should say when someone questions what you're doing with your life, your career, is something along the lines of, "I'm doing what feels right for me." Then they might ask you, "Well, what about the money?" Then this is where you respond with, "I've calculated my expenses and I can take care of myself." Now, I want to pause right here. If you are someone who's taking a chance or a risk on a passion project or a side hustle, and someone is asking you about how you're going to make money, this isn't always them being disrespectful. It's them being honest. So I think what really helped me answer the career question with more confidence and more boundaries was when I knew in my heart of hearts how I was going to take care of myself while I pursued my passions. So let's say you have a passion project and you don't know when it's going to make you money. If you are working full-time or part-time, then you'll have to kind of manage your money as you pursue it. Then if you manage your money and you're making money while you're pursuing your passions, frankly, nobody has anything over your head. If you can fully take care of yourself, you can tell everyone to walk off a bridge, okay? Mind your own business, Aunt Kathy. If I were you, I would say something like this in a family environment. "Oh, I'm following my passions right now because it feels right to me." And if they push back on money, tell them that you actually have a plan for it. So really, you're good on all fronts. Let me tell you, when you handle your money, you become unshakable. You immediately take the bullets out of everyone's firearms. Now, if they seem positive after you tell them that you've told them that you're covered financially, then you can go ahead and share a little bit more about your passion project. Because truthfully, it is nice to share with someone who is genuinely interested. And you're likely to receive more positive feedback because they know that you have fully thought about your own survival. But if they still seem like they're thinking you're crazy for following your dreams, going after your passions, pursuing the side hustle, cut the conversation. You do not need this external person affecting your self-confidence around the thing you're trying to build. Number 2, relationship status. "Why are you still single?" "Because it takes a lot of time to sort through all the trash, Mom." Just kidding, don't say that. So this is a classic holiday season question, This happens at family parties, friend parties, even work parties. I've been asked by other career professionals, like, so, have you thought about Mr. Right? And I'm like, boy, have I. I dream about him every night. Thank you for asking. But seriously, the truth is, you don't owe anyone the reason as to why you're single. And this can be tough because for some of us, it is a soft spot because a part of you just wants to shout, yo, if I found him, he would be here. Your guess is as good as mine as to why I'm still single, So you want to go in knowing what you'll say ahead of time and how much you'll share. Because if you do want to have a relationship, you might want to say something along the lines of, well, I just haven't found the right person, but I'm open to the right person if they show up. When you say something like that, as a single person who wants a relationship, that shows that you are comfortable in your singledom. However, you're still open to referrals. Because if you say something different, like along the lines of, I don't know why I'm still single and I'm still searching and it's so hard, I really hope they're out there, then that puts out a negative, desperate vibe. You also don't want to sound like, oh, I don't need a man, or oh, I don't need a woman. When you say things like that, you sound negative and combative and honestly unhealed. So if you have an answer prepared that's like, hey, I'd like to find the right person, but overall I feel complete and have inner peace, so I'm not just gonna settle for whoever. They have to feel right for me. That invites the right response, which is people getting a better understanding of you and where you're at. And in this response, you were sincere without oversharing. And if they do have friends or family, they can potentially refer you someone. This response keeps up a boundary between them and your personal life, because oftentimes if you don't take charge of that conversation, people will start asking you questions like, oh, why are you still single? Oh, have you thought about when you want to have kids? Oh, well, do you feel like time's running out? Well, are you a part of this dating app or this run club? So the best thing is to have a response prepared so you stay in control of the conversation. Now, if you're thinking, hey Mel, I just want to stay single forever and die alone. Hey, that's fine. More power to you. No one's getting in the way of your dreams. But I would still have something prepped to say, like, after thinking about it, I don't think I'm the relationship type. From there, change the conversation before they ask you more questions like, who hurt you? Number 3, marriage and kids. There's always that question. So when are you settling down? When grocery prices go down, Mom? I'm just kidding. Now, this question is a little more geared towards people who are in relationships but might not be married yet, or might be married and not have kids yet. Quite frankly, when someone asks me if I want to get married and have kids, I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that question because I don't have a man yet. So how am I supposed to think that far out? So if you're a single man or woman, say that response. I don't know what these people want from us, honestly. Because people will be out here asking you all of these far off questions. I'm like, sorry, was I supposed to start planning my wedding before the man showed up? Excuse me for not having my bridal Pinterest board ready. So there's that. Now, if you're in a relationship and people are asking about marriage, sometimes they're just curious, and I don't think we have to fault people for that, but you can say something along the lines of, that is actually something my spouse and I prefer to keep private. I empower you to say something to that effect. That is, if you actually want to keep it completely private, or if you two are still undecided yourselves. Because what you don't want to do is say something along the lines of, I'm not sure because he hasn't said XYZ yet. Or, oh, she always says we will have the conversation, but we never do. When you place your indecision in someone else's hands, then that gives the baton of control of the conversation back to them. Next thing you know, they're going to start asking more questions about it. Like, oh, well, what's the holdup? Is he not doing something? Do you want me to have a conversation with him? Next thing you know, you're complaining about all of the things your spouse is not doing with the second cousin that you only see once or twice a year. And next thing you know, cousin Vicky knows all the reasons why you hate your spouse and about the fight that you had at Walgreens. Don't give cousin Vicky that power. When you're having conversations about marriage or kids, especially if you have a partner, be sure to protect both of you from the outside puncture of people's perceptions, even if it's family. And for the, so when are you having kids question, keep it short and sweet. You can say, we're planning on it, or I'd rather not discuss that right now. If you've already decided, easy. Yes, we do want kids, but we're waiting for the right time. Done. But if things are undecided or you and your partner are still having heated discussions about it at home, do not invite outside opinions into your coupledom. The second you do, Aunt Kathy suddenly becomes a fertility expert with advice she found on Facebook, okay? And cousin Vicky's whispering, I knew he wasn't ready. Protect your peace and your relationship from the outside vultures you're related to. And here's another thing to watch out for during the holidays: drinking and oversharing. If you're secretly upset that your partner hasn't put a ring on it yet, or you two still haven't agreed on the whole kids or not to have kids thing, don't mix that with Chardonnay and Aunt Kathy's curiosity. Because 3 glasses in, you might start leaking your real feelings, and trust me, the last thing you need is Uncle Jerry eating popcorn like, oh really? Tell me more. Boundaries don't just protect you from other people, they protect you from yourself. From saying too much, from crying in the guest bathroom while All I Want for Christmas is playing in the background, okay? So before you go, take a moment to check in with yourself. If you're angry or sad, talk to a friend or a coach like me. Get that stuff off your chest before the party, not at the dinner table. Because peace of mind is the best holiday outfit you can wear. Number 4, appearance and body comments from your family. You look different. Have you gained weight? Yeah, Aunt Marge, I was prepping for the winter like bears do. So sue me. Okay. One time, my uncle looked at me and said, Melanie, you've really filled out since I last saw you. You're really a woman now. I was like, ew, Uncle, stop being gross. Like, I feel like I gotta go take a shower now and get an exorcism. So comments like this can be incredibly embarrassing and uncomfortable. I will say a lot of times comments about weight can come from mothers to their daughters, but I mean, they can happen to men or women, and it can be a lot to deal with. So essentially, if someone asks you if you've gained weight, or hell, even if you've lost weight, sometimes people all of a sudden start asking you if you have a problem because you lost 30 pounds. Don't be afraid to tell them, my body, my choice. Or on a sincere note, just say, hey, my physical health is my personal business, but if you want, we can talk about the weather. Or here's another comeback. Hey, if I answer your questions about my body, can I ask you questions about yours? Now this is bold and this might ruffle feathers, but sometimes I do find it good to ruffle feathers. I do find it good to ruffle them just enough to make the person realize how inappropriate they're being while not causing a huge drag out fight. Because typically if you ruffle people's feathers just enough, they'll back off. So you look them dead in the eyes and say, okay, I'll answer all of your body questions if you answer mine. Sound good? And just see what they say. They might laugh, they will likely back off, and if they say something like, hey, you're being sensitive or whatever, you can just say, I don't think so. And then you can walk away, move on, change the conversation. Remember that you have power in any conversation that you're in. Like, don't feel you have to answer to anyone, because That's how most people pleasers feel. But once again, make sure that if you have certain insecurities about your body and you feel like it might come up, have a talk with yourself ahead of time. Ask yourself if you actually want to talk to someone about how you feel about your body. Because what you could do is then reach out to someone who can actually help you. Remember, the more you know who you are and where you stand on things, the less people can shake you and the less they can push your boundaries. Sometimes you might be nervous about a topic coming up in these events because you already know you are insecure about it on some level. But if you haven't decided where you are in the stage of processing it, that's when the oversharing is more likely to occur. So you need to be decided. Most of the times when we start oversharing about a sensitive topic, it's because on some level we want to share. We want to be seen. But you don't want to leave yourself vulnerable to oversharing with someone who doesn't have sincere care for you. Number 5, how to exit toxic conversations. This one's for when the conversation has gone completely off the rails, emotions high, tempers up, childhood wounds unlocked. So let's talk about my mom. She's an old school Brazilian, passionate, dramatic, and convinced woman. She is convinced that the fact that I'm single with no kids is her personal failure. She loves me, but when it comes to my relationship status, she's like a dog with a bone. One holiday, she would just not stop in front of everyone. She never makes time to find a man. She's too busy with her career. And I'm sitting there like, Mom, if you're gonna humiliate me, can you at least wait until everyone leaves? Finally, I snapped. I yelled back at her. I was like, I have never done anything to you. Drop the mic. And I walked out like it was the season finale of a telenovela. Cut to me sitting in my car crying for 30 minutes, mascara everywhere. Then my phone starts blowing up with family members being like, come back, she promised she'll stop. And eventually I did. Was it awkward? Oh, absolutely. Did it stop her? Also, yes. And that's the point. Sometimes protecting your peace will make things awkward, but awkward is temporary. Losing yourself to keep the peace, that's permanent. So don't be afraid to make people uncomfortable, especially if it's the only way to make them finally hear you. Now, a dramatic exit isn't the first card you should choose, but if you've said your piece, set a couple defense lines, and it's still going south, then pull the plug and exit the situation. That's it. Let it be done. If you have to stay somewhere else for the holidays, then do it. It is these moves that call back your power and make sure that the behavior stops. Otherwise, you'll be facing this over and over and over again. So guys, this is how you should mentally prepare and lay down boundaries for the holidays. Let me know in the comments any wild things that's been said to you in a holiday prior. How did you respond? How did you handle it? I'm interested. Also, if you're someone who has a hard time saying no in social situations, please go ahead and grab the link below, Say No with Grace. It is a free guide to help you with that. Guys, my name is Melanie Silva, recovered people pleaser turned boundaried baddie. And I hope you have a happy holiday. I hope it's not too awkward. And, cheers to the next chapter.